What's up, everybody? It's Jay Wilson, and the question is that BETTA sick? What happened? Why is he changing colors? Is he going to die? What is all of this? However, I want to tell you, northfinusa.com, get your flakes now. It is serious. And in a couple of days, I will be in Wisconsin having a blast, giving 2 talks, and ultimately enjoying myself. But here is the dealio. The BETTA is not sick. And you're going to see an update of all the tanks. But more importantly, this is what happens to a koi beta, or BETTA. As you know, Sushi was looking super lush. I still think Sushi looks super lush, but this bonsai plant was dying and now it's regrowing. And ultimately, I'm getting the growth back because there was a slight die-off. I think it was a light issue, it was new plants, it was the whole 9 yards. However, Sushi is now all blue with some flames, with some red. He looks great. However, he is not anything like the red, white, and blue when I bought him. And so I did a bunch of research, and this is exactly what happens to koi betta when they start to mature. And he's got a mustache, right? He's got lip liner. He is absolutely awesome. He's got a ton of personality, and ultimately, he is a betta that I can enjoy because of that personality. He does really well with the 6 cardinal tetras. Everything is going well from the Fluval Nano Light to the little off-brand filter. The stone looks amazing, but this is actually getting better than it was. That's why I haven't really shown this tank, is because the growth, I wasn't looking to plant this tank like crazy. I just wanted to learn, and I had a lot of die-off early, and now it's all coming back. It's all coming back. But I guess this is the nature of planet tanks. When we see stuff from ADG or George Farmer, guys like that, it's, you know, these are guys that are super professional. They're like full on playing with this tank a couple times a week just to keep it the way it is. And we typically see it in its best form. And ultimately, this is not its best form, and neither is Sushi. But this tank is beautiful to look at. So let me know in the comments what you think. Are koi beta something you would keep just because they morph? Or what? Would you not keep them knowing that they're going to morph? Because they are kind of a little bit more pricey than a normal betta. So let's look at the Tetra Geophagus tank starting now. Okay, maybe not right now, but like now. So 500 neon tetras reduced by maybe like 20. And the geos are doing wonderful. These are Suramensis. The Cories came out to play. The Tetras are out to play. I wish some bamboo shrimp would come out to play. However, overall, this tank is lush. It is going to take months, maybe a year, before this tank fully gets on what it needs to get on in terms of plant growth. The lights are working fantastic from Current USA. All of the stone is placed exactly the way I want it. And ultimately, I couldn't ask for a better aquarium. That is not an African cichlid tank. It still has cichlids in it. It's still maturing. And ultimately, it really provides that calm entertainment that I was really looking for from an aquarium. With the massive amount of tetras just schooling, the Suramensis are just doing their thing as they typically stay together. And then the Cories have broken up into their little groups, and they kind of cruise by every once in a while. I have thought about adding a secondary schooling fish. I'm not sure yet. I'm still debating, but if I do, I think it's going to make this tank really pop in the ways that it needs to. I am still working on transitioning the sump to a canister filter, and yes, everybody can hate on me for it. That's fine, but ultimately that's what I want to do, and it's going to make things much easier for me. That's what I want. I want things to be much easier for me, and ultimately you want things to be much easier for you whenever you're doing a tank in general. Just because somebody else does it doesn't mean you have to do it. But the rundown is spiderwood, your easy plants, neon tetras, geophagus. I've got the Cory cats, and I think I got a bristlenose placosimus in here. I have a bamboo shrimp, a mystery snail named Gary. And ultimately, the rocks are from Universal Rocks. Plants and some of the spiderwood and stuff is from Flip Aquatics. And then, of course, Aqua Studios, my local fish store. had all the other schnazzy things to include the geophagus and the cory cats and the bamboo shrimp. So let me know in the comments which tank you prefer out of the 3 tanks that you see in this video, because ultimately I don't think you've seen all 3 of these tanks in succession and how they have grown. Now this is going to be the youngest of them. The BETTA tank, I call it Sushi and the Cardinals, is the 2nd oldest tank. And then as we move on to the Lake Tanganyikan tank, that'll be the most mature tank, the oldest tank. And ultimately in terms of aquariums, they're not exactly fully matured in any way, shape, or form. But what would you do different with this tank if it was yours? Would you change anything? Would you add anything? What type of lights would you use? Would you add a different schooling fish? Would you have gone with a different geophagus? I want to hear all those things. It helps everyone grow when we can work together. That's the idea. Wow! Here's the Lake Tanganyikan tank, and ultimately we have lost a few fish. I've lost 2 Tropheus and 2 Dardani. Okay, 4 total fish. The Dardani, actually, one of them jumped and the other one was killed, but that's just what they do. I've got the Eromotus cynostictus in here. I've got the Limneotilapia dardinii or Dardani, and then I've got the Tropheus, and then I've got a couple of shell dwellers. Look at the gobies, just, oh man, look at them, right front and center, just ready to rock and roll. And then I put the catfish in here. Surprisingly, the catfish are doing really well. I like it because they don't seem as stressed. The female typically will hide, which is normal for these 2, because these are the 2 oldest fish that I've ever kept, are the catfish that are in this tank. And ultimately, no matter what happens in any of my journey, I am always going to keep those catfish. Thelma and Louise was never a name that I wanted to give them, so it is Bonnie and Clyde. So Bonnie and Clyde will always be with me no matter what. Look at the Eromotus going insane right now. Look at him. He's wanting that action. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but top left, there's like there's a black fish that has like a tumor on its face. It's actually missing part of its scales because it got into a fight with the other one that it killed, and it just hasn't fully healed yet. But this tank has matured to the fullest, in my opinion. The algae on the rocks looks amazing. The fake plants have taken on a really nice brownish buildup on them. Oh man, look at that Dardani just lit up, ready to rock and roll. And ultimately the Dardani will get much bigger. The Tropheus are going to get much bigger. And I don't know, I don't do a ton of water changes on this tank, and so I don't know if they're not growing because of that, or they're just not growing. Well, they're not growing because I don't do enough water changes. I'm not pulling the testosterone ultimately out of the water to help them grow, but they're still beautiful, they're still maturing, and they're maturing at their own rate, which is what I want. I'm not power feeding, I'm not doing any of that. I feed them veggie formula. I also throw in a little bit of Bug Pro, Krill Pro, and of course they get kelp wafers. And now they're going to get the flakes, right? Because that's what they should get, is flakes as well. There is a small little Neolamprologus brevis sunspot. I don't know if he pops up into the screen, but he usually hangs out to the bottom left, and he is simply amazing because he was left in here accidentally in a shell. But thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, tweeting, doing all the things that you do to make it relevant. Check out northfinusa.com. Do me a favor, share this video, hit the notification bell, subscribe, do something amazing today in your life, right? Something small, something that creates an impact, and ultimately you will be better for it, the world will be better for it, and honestly, I think that's what we need. So if you decide to stay to the end of the video, you will know that there's a little bit of motivation. Thank you so much. You know what's next. Holla! What's up, everybody? So you've got to witness all of the changes that are happening in the aquariums, and I greatly appreciate your support. I'm having a popsicle. I'm still in Connecticut at my sister and her husband's house, and I'm ultimately having the best time of my life with relaxation and enjoying family. But I wanted to leave you with this. Stop looking behind you. There's nothing back there. Have people around you that can cover your 6, and the rest will be perfectly fine. If you continue to look behind you, you're only going to get dragged down by decisions that may have not been the best that you made, and ultimately, your motivation in moving forward will be much slower. So do yourself a favor, focus in on what's in front of you, set goals, set tasks, check them off, and crush the living bajonkas out of it. All right? Thank you so much. And remember, northfinusa.com, we've got flakes available. And, well, we've got a ton of stuff going on. So follow us at j-wilson.com. You know what's next. Holla!